YouTube, welcome to Tele Tuesday. This is a bit different. It's a different guitar. This is normally the guitar that's hanging on the wall that the camera's mounted on. So I've not quite run out of teles yet. So we're now on to the SHOCKINGBIRD, which I made myself. But before I go on to that, I've got a question for YouTube land, see if anyone knows. What was the first HSH guitar? Like humbucker, single coil humbucker? Because I was looking at my new West Tone. This one here, right? So there's an HSH layout. I was under the impression, I'm pretty sure I've read before, that the first, when Steve Vai invented his Gem guitar, it was the first one to have, but Gem was like 1987, something like that. This one here is 1984. And really, I didn't mention this before, how much the wiring in this is pretty advanced. It's kind of, I've been doing this sort of thing, modern guitars to do what this one already does. So you've got your, five-way blade switch. So you've got a humbucker, a single coil and a humbucker. If you pull up this, you get these two single coils. So this guitar now does everything that a Strat does, straight out the box. With the addition of the two, you can't get both humbuckers on at the same time, but you can have the bridge and the neck humbucker, so you get a ridiculous number of sounds already. It's also got a phase switch, which is the versus the middle one. So this guitar for 1984 is like 18 sounds or something, as stock, which I think is ridiculous. But I just wondered when the first HSH came out, because this isn't the earliest one either. This is a Spectrum 3, which is basically a paint job up from 1983's Concorde H3, I think it's called. So it's just this guitar, apart from it's got silver hardware and it's got switches instead of push-pull pots, and it's not this colour. So 1983 being my attempt at thinking it's probably the earliest HSH guitar, or definitely of what I've seen. I've been having a look about, thinking about it and asking a few of my pals, and really don't know. So I don't know, is it maybe like a Kramer or a Charvel or something? Who knows? So my bid is, earliest one I think so far I've found is the 1983 version of that. Also interestingly, in the West Tone catalogue from 1984 from this era, I think this is the only HSH guitar they've got, but they've also got another one that's SHS, which I've never seen since. It's got a single coil, a humbucker in the middle and a single coil there. Kind of want to have one of them just because it looks so wrong, like it shouldn't be there. But anyway, so yeah, there's a question you can think about. Answers down there. Anyone, what's the earliest single humbucker guitar you can think of? I think when I'm looking at the, thinking back to the Steve Vai talking about it, I think his innovation was it's just got a 5-way lever. So I think on the Gems, if you're in position 2, or I'm assuming 1 is bridge. I think I've changed my mind a few times on how that goes, but technically 1 is bridge. So in position 2, it automatically coil splits this. So position 2 is the same as a single coil. Same as a Strat sound. So you get 3 Strat sounds in the middle and then a humbucker on either edge. Whereas this one, you get all 5 Strat sounds and then you get a switch to turn on a humbucker on either end. Innovative stuff. So going from innovative electrics to a different type of innovative electrics. This is my SHOCKINGBIRD. And its wiring consists of a single coil pickup and a volume control. That's it. And if I had a wee look for my screwdriver, my good screwdriver. You've always got like your favourite screwdriver, the one that seems to fit everything. I can't find it. But if I took off this plate, this guitar has 1 wire in it. Sort of. 1 added wire. So the pickup, as you know, a pickup's got 2 wires coming off it. One of them, the ground wire, is soldered onto the metal base plate of the pickup, quite often in Telecasters, and then because it's the earth wire soldered to the metal base plate, it's connected to the bridge. So there's your earth wire for the whole guitar, and then you get the 2 wires coming off the pickup. One, the earth one, just goes to the earth and the volume pot, and then because the volume pot's sitting on a metal plate, that's all earth, and then you get then you get a wire, the signal, the positive from the pickup, goes to the input of the volume pot, and then the 1 wire I've got added goes from the output of the volume pot from there to the centre of the jack socket, and I don't need to do the earth and the jacksaw because it's stuck to this metal plate as well. So it's got, I've only added one wire to this one. I wanted a guitar that had one single coil. I mean, I called this the SHOCKINGBIRD just because it's got a few shocking things about it. You know, it's like you put a Les Paul neck on a Telecaster, and also, what's this all about? Obviously, I think it's sitting there. Hopefully I can pick it up without knocking anything else over. Obviously you can sort of see what I drew around to get that bit. Like literally, this is a guitar I drew around on a piece of wood to make this one. Another thing, by the way, before I go into this, why not just talk? But looking at the Washburn Stage Series, which I like this, right? Thinking this is often called it like an Explorer with bits cut off, but see, actually, if you compare it to the Mockingbird, like this part of it, okay, it's not quite the same, but it's not miles away. I mean, I think there is a bit of Mockingbird in this, which I really wasn't thinking of. It wasn't until I was looking at the SHOCKINGBIRD I saw it, and I thought, that's actually quite interesting. That so the Mockingbird's kind of, you know, it's got its influence on there. Yeah. So back to the guitar. Water on the floor, it's alright. Yeah. So this is a joist. You've seen in my Tele Tuesdays. So far, I've built a few guitars out of joists. So this is, you know, two pieces of wood stuck together, pretty roughly sanded. Got a few innovative features. The neck bolts I had weren't quite long enough, so using the angle grinder I carved out this bit, which is the same. I used to have a Yamaha that had that. I quite liked it just because it's a cheesy feature. Obviously you can see I painted the neck red as well. This was it's a Fresher, which I actually saved from my pal's bin about 10 years ago. The headstock had snapped off, and his great idea to make it strong. And he was like, Malcolm, you can imagine trying to bend a hacksaw blade, you know, along its axis. You know, obviously it bends easy that way, but try and bend it that way, and you think, oh no, that'd be quite difficult to bend that. So this literally has hacksaw blades strengthening the joint. Doesn't do any harm, I suppose. It's not broken, so I mean it must be solid enough. I don't know whether you want to have hacksaw blades in the, you know, like in the grooves. And then it was really badly finished, so I just painted it red, and actually worked alright. I don't know why I went for red. The pickup, well, it was also to get rid of some gold hardware, but the pickup came in my Washburn A10 as a P90 sized humbucker. No, humbucker sized P90. And for whatever reason I took the covers off because I was going to use them for something else, and then in below the cover there was like just a single coil. I was like, oh, I was kind of expecting, you know, the actual pickup to be the same shape as the humbucker, but it's not. It's just that. It's just a single coil kind of sitting in the middle of the base plate. So I didn't want P90s in that. They went original to the Washburn. So what I did was this has still got, it's got like a standard humbucker base plate. So I angle ground that into the shape of a Tele base plate and then stuck the extra holes in. So it's I don't know, does it make it a P90? Because it was a P90, a humbucker sized P90 before I cut it up, but you know, it's still got the single coil bobbin on it. But it's quite unusual anyway, because it's not very often you see a white Tele pickup. It's not very often you see a white Tele pickup that's got screw poles on it. Interesting. This is just an air vent just now. Yeah, Fresher guitars are actually pretty good. I think they're sort of Japanese Les Paul copies. I think they're quite well renowned. I don't know where they were made. Fujigen or something maybe. Also I bought a set of black tuners for this, or I had a set of black tuners, and when they arrived, 5 of them were the same, and then one of them had a different sized button on the top. So instead I ended up buying skull shaped ones. You see, these are black tuners, but I put gold skulls on them, and I put gold washers, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, you can see here's another innovation. See, the problem with a lot of Gibson guitars, it was a problem with this one. When you bend the middle 2 strings, because there's such a crazy angle, when the string goes over the nut, it goes at a mad angle to get to the D and the G strings. they were sticking in the nut, so you bend the note up and it would stay there because it would stick at the nut. So the way around that is to either cut the nut properly, or, which I always fancied doing anyway, you make rollers. So as you can see, these strings, the middle two strings actually come on pretty much in a straight line onto the nut, and these rollers are just you can't really see there. It's basically just the ball end of a bass string with a screw through it to make a roller, and it seems to have worked really well. I wouldn't be going sticking it onto, you know, your £2,000 Gibson, but I mean, if it's something you're messing about with like this, it's totally, it sorts a lot of problems, as long as you're not going to damage the value of the guitar. You know, you've got like an expensive one, but it does, I quite like it. Makes it a bit interesting. I've actually managed to talk about this an awful lot more than I thought was possible. The pine body. I'm still, again, this always happens whenever I get this guitar out. I got this pickup in China. Oh, I can't find the pickup, I've got the cover, like a P90. And I was thinking, do I want to stick a P90 in that? Because I'd have to recess it because it's sitting quite high, but that would be pretty cool as well. And it was like, you know, and then I would be able to put I've got a white Telecaster switch tip, and it's like, oh, do I want to do that? I can't decide, because the whole point of this guitar is being shocking, the fact it's only got one knob and a single coil pickup. I mean, I do have a few guitars that have got like single humbucker, but nobody's got a single coil. And the thing is, it sounds really good, and the fact you're so limited to having no sounds whatsoever, all you've got to mess about with is how hard you hit the strings and the volume control. So that's I kind of love it for that. I don't know, choices. I'd also like to be quite cool. See if I had that pickup in the neck and the gold, and then the whole guitar was white. I'd probably leave the red neck on it, but a white guitar would be pretty cool. But then it doesn't look like a joist anymore, and it's also, obviously, if you've noticed, it's got a face on it. There's its tongue, the nose and the eyes, kind of like that wee guy from Ice Age. I knew that when I made it. I kind of made it so that I used a piece of wood in such a way that would sit in the middle and not be hidden by anything. So I'd have to fill in that hole, which is just a big knot, if I was going to paint it white. I don't know. Anyway, so sound wise, it's not going to take long to run through the pickup selectors because I've only got one pickup. But again, which I've been noticing using this last week, I've not done any videos because I've been too busy playing my new Yamaha. But it doesn't have a tone control, and I've been very useful using the volume control, because if you knock it down just a wee bit, that's like a tone. It does have a big similar thing on this. You just need to learn how to use it properly. Put a bit of reverb on, see as it's clean. So it doesn't really sound like a Telecaster. So it's got the proper Telecaster bridge. Is it through strung? It is. So it's through strung. It's got the proper Telecaster bridge. It's not a tele pickup, but it is on a brass backplate, you know, or what used to be the humbucker bass plate that I cut to shape. So it should sound like a Telecaster. It does have a Gibson scale neck on it though, so it's like 24 3/4 inch instead of 25 1/2. Maybe the scale length has an awful lot more to do with sound than I was thinking. Don't know. Still sort of tele. Altogether more rock with the spiky bit though. I have to say as well, see when you're playing sitting down, the spiky bit sits really well on your leg. It's kind of the one saving grace about the ergonomics of the Mockingbird. The Mockingbird it balances badly on a strap. This bit sticks into your chest, and it's not, and you can't get up fretboard. It's not it's a design for looks rather than ergonomics. But this bit on the Mockingbird sits well. It's a bit that's comfy, so this has got the best of it. Might make some noise. For this I'm going to use the twin note fuzz pedal, just because single coils and fuzz, cheap fuzz pedal, cheap guitar. little different. First pedal for the backing track there, hey? The Shockingbird. I don't think it was really that long ago I did a video. The strings on it seem quite new, so it's probably, you know, been within a year. And I really like it as a guitar. It's really silly. I don't really know what else to say about it. I don't think it's not like having the one single coil pickup. It's not a super trebly sounding guitar. I wouldn't have said it's not like, you know, when you're on the Strat pickup and then, you know, the bridge position, it's like it's pure twang fest. Not really. Maybe something to do with the pickup, or I don't know. Actually, what I'm going to weight, just to say that weight wise, it's pretty much exactly the weight you would expect a tele to be. So I'm going for a guess here. I think 3.5 is quite a light guitar. That white Yamaha is 2.5, and I think the Falcon, which you can see now behind me, one with the through neck, is like about 5. So I'm going to go for this being about 3.5, maybe 4. So interesting to see whether I'm right or not. Just kind of knowing these things just from having been weighing guitars recently since I got these luggage scales. Even though I'm not yet 100% sure about what the best way of getting at the luggage scales is. That elastic band's just too bendy. 3.1, what did I say? Did I say 3.5? So this weighs 3.1. So it's actually not that much heavier than the Yamaha, which is, I suppose, maybe only having one pickup in it, because pickups weigh quite a lot. But then again, I was talking to someone about this before. I don't know how much, you know, people. My pal was saying that, you know, it's more, Strats weigh more because they've got the tremolo block and stuff in the back. But I was thinking, you have to cut out an awful lot of the wood. So although you are adding the metal of having the tremolo block and the springs, you're taking out, you know, like a big section of wood, so that will lessen the impact of that. I don't know whether a tremolo bar weighs more than, you know, that amount of wood. Interesting. Anyway, so yes, Shockingbird, good fun. I've got another one in the wings. When I cut this body, I cut another one because I thought it looked so good, and I've just not done anything with it yet. So I'm not really sure. The thing about using that P90 is it's gold. And gold hardware, if you ever get, you know, having boxes of guitar parts, gold hardware is always dead difficult to use up, because you can't just have like a normal guitar that's got, you know, gold tuners. It looks wrong. So you need to have all gold or none gold. So that would kind of use up that P90, which I got in China, and I think, if I remember correctly, it cost £2.50 delivered, and I got a free humbucker with it. So I bought like just like a generic humbucker. So it's really when you're in China buying this stuff, it's just absolute peanuts. That was second hand. If you buy them new, it's like which I found interesting. A lot of things are the same price. Like, see, effects pedals. I was over there thinking, you know the wee like the wee Mosky rats and stuff like that. I thought, oh, they come from China. You know, we get them over here for, like, I paid. They're a bit more expensive now. I paid 12 or 13 quid for that. But if you're over there, they're 20 quid. And it's like, oh, and it's the same with all sorts of pedals and amps and stuff are just the same price. It's only when you get guitars from the Chinese factories that the price is a tenth of what we pay. It's really bizarre when you're looking in China, because they do sell like Squires and Epiphones, like, you know, like real Squires and Epiphones, and you're talking, they're the same price as they are here. So you can buy, like, you know, whatever the base model Squire Bullet for, what are they, about 120 quid, something like that. You can buy that for 120 quid over there. Or you can buy a Chinese Strat that says Fender on it. You can get it in any colour you want. You're probably made in the same factory for 20 quid. So, but people still pay the premium to have someone else's name on it. Kind of weird. Anyway, yeah. So talked enough. I didn't do any videos last night because the shop had Bucky. I saw it like, buy a bottle of Bucky. So I bought a bottle of Bucky. Came back and ended up sat up all night last night talking to my pal Wayne, because we were meant to be at Download tonight or last night or this weekend, and it was cancelled. So today if this coronavirus hadn't been today, I would have seen Ailstorm on the main stage, followed immediately by Baby Metal, and then there was something in the middle, and then the last band was System of a Down. So that would have been some afternoon. So instead I just got pissed and talked to my pal on Skype, not Skype. Was it Skype? Messenger, whatever it was. Yeah, so make guitars out of pine. It really is dead easy. I mean, I didn't make the neck, I'll be honest, but I mean, there's not an awful lot to the guitars. I've just thought of another tele. Actually, I'm starting to think I was running out of teles. I'm going to leave the best one, my most expensive and fanciest one, till last. I've still got my Chinese one, which I'm going to put other pickups in. Just, what's the point in having expensive pickups sitting in a box when I can put them in a guitar, and then if I need them, someone else can take them back out of the guitar and put the original pickups back in again. You know, it's not. Okay, it would cost money if you had to get a shop to do it, but if I'm doing it myself, it doesn't cost anything. So that's nice and easy. I've got that. I've also got my first ever guitar I ever built, which is, this is a sort of refined version of it. I know you could argue it doesn't really look very refined, but it is when you compare it to the original. Actually, it's actually called the Malco-Caster, written in black pen on the headstock. This thing is brutal. This is before I had a router or a Dremel, so this is chiselled out, and you know, it's all just chiselled and hammered. And I think at the time, this is going back maybe 10 years, I was sitting there seeing how cheap I could make a guitar. Basically, I got a free neck, which I think it chips out the headstock, and I glued them back on again or something like that. So I got a free neck, and basically I was just going to try and make it just using crap I had lying about, and where the Malco-Caster came from. I don't even think the pickups screwed into the body, on springs. I think it's literally the pickup is hacked out and then nailed into the body. In fact, it's got a neck pickup as well, actually. I think a BC Rich, I seem to remember. Yes, so rocking. Sorry, I ended up talking half an hour again. But anyway, enjoy the continuation of the virus, and hopefully none of us will get it. No, I wish we were in New Zealand. You know, sensible leadership. Be nice when all this is over. It's kind of weird, like watching stuff on telly and seeing crowds of people. You know, it reminds me of is it the Omega Man, the Charlton Heston, which should have been good but kind of wasn't, film where he was the last man on earth, and he was going to the cinema and he used to watch Woodstock every day just because of the people. You know, it's like Woodstock, just hundreds of crowd shots of just people, and he was just lonely because he was the only person left on earth. I can't remember what my point was there. Yeah, but it's that sort of strangeness when you see, even when I'm watching concert videos, you're just sitting there going, wow, remember when you used to be able to be in a crowd? And now it's like, it's just, the world has changed. Rock and roll! Enough downside. On another plus side, look up. I had a good, someone who does good YouTube videos. First one I've seen actually was Robert Fripp, who is married to Toya, and they did a video this morning or yesterday, and he's playing one of his, I can't remember what the song's called, Fractured, I think maybe. It's pure ridiculously the most complicated guitar part you've ever heard. So he's sitting in the kitchen playing that, and Toya's tap dancing to it, and it's like pure, yep, that's what people should be doing, try to spread a bit of joy, whereas I just talk shite. So it's basically just, it's like coming to visit me for half an hour where you don't get to talk. So it would probably be, you get an hour conversation in a half hour video with me, because I would, you know, out of courtesy, I wouldn't listen to what you said, but I would hear you talk and I would sort of maybe agree with you or disagree with you. Whereas in this, I just get to talk all the way on my own without having to bother with any interference or any questions. So have a think about the HSH guitar, and what the first one was. And although it's not this one, well, it's the previous year, 1983 one of this is a contender, but I don't know. I have not played this guitar enough. This is another one. This happens to be quite a lot because I don't buy guitars. You know, I don't decide what guitar I want, save up for it for ages, and then buy it at a specific time. I just buy what comes past. That's how I can afford, you know, really interesting ones. It's like, you know, you'll never see another one of these. If you wanted to try and buy one of these, right, I need one of these for a video next week, I don't know where you would get one. You'd end up phoning me and offering me hundreds of money for it just to, you know, to get this exact one. So the way these things work out, I ended up getting the Yamaha the day before this one, and this one is a better guitar than the Yamaha, but it doesn't have lights on it. And it's like when you've got a guitar with lights on it, it makes it, oh, it's got lights on it, interesting. You know. The other thing I think it pissed me off a wee bit with this one as well was, part of the reason I bought it is because of the colour, but I've got the Prestige there, and the Prestige is a much more expensive version of this. It's got like lots of binding and ebony fretboards, and, you know, binding around the edges and stuff, and it's, you know, I've not really played that one enough either. But then again, these are just normal guitars. That one's got lights on it, man. Lights up. And plus, even more than that, it's got lights that I put in it. So Every other one of those guitars has only got 2 lights, mine's got 3. Rock and roll!